Did you have a toxic person that would always start fights with you? That would always create these arguments, create these situations that would put you in a place where you react, where you respond, where you kind of play out in a different way that you normally would. A lot of times we have a narcissist that will react and will start a certain kind of a conversation to produce this fight, to be able to make it appear a certain way, to be able to get a reaction out of you and then turn around and blame you for the problem. So one of the things we're going to talk about today. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I'm the founder of Raw Motivations, the creator of the NARCAP, and your guide in the 7-day challenge called Escape Toxicity, where we help people understand about narcissistic abuse and break free. For $7, you can have lifetime access to be able to get in with the community that is going through that same exact challenge and to be able to move forward in your growth, in your healing, and in your change. You might be at the place today where you've been dealing with a narcissist who instigates these conflicts and then shift the blame onto you. Shift the blame to make you feel like it is your fault. Like that is your fault for actually causing the argument, for actually starting the whole issue. And we're going to talk about how that actually plays out. Because we see this happen consistently in toxic relationships where there'll be an argument, an issue, and it ends up being your fault. It ends up being put on you. This produces a huge aspect of emotional turmoil where you're like, I don't even know what's going on. There's these highs and these lows, these ups and downs caused by what's actually happening in the narcissist, like what's happening on their behavior. So to be able to understand this, you have to get to the place where you start to separate the feelings from the facts. Like what is actually true in the situation. So many times people are stuck in the fog, the fear, the obligation, the guilt, and they're not exactly sure, how do I even move past this? How do I even move through this to get to the place where I can actually see the truth, be able to see reality? Part of it is helping people see the difference between their actions and between their words, between what they actually say and what they actually do. How does this actually show up differently? Well, with cognitive dissonance, it makes you feel like you don't know what you can choose. You're left thinking and maybe like, well, this person says they love me, but they keep cheating on me. I'll just believe it and it'll be fine. Maybe they're just going through a hard time. And people do this so often, it sells you into a different reality than what's actually true. So until we get to a place of being able to say, hey, what are the facts and what are the feelings, it starts to have a giant emotional impact on you. This impact starts to hurt your self-worth, or it starts to break down your mindset time and time and time again. And it leads you down this road of ending up having the blame constantly put on you where you start to doubt yourself. Now, what does it actually show up? How does it actually develop in your own life? You might be at the place today that you're watching this and you're like, wait a second, that makes sense because I've had this big effect on my self-esteem. I no longer seem to know who I even am. Like it's affected my confidence of how I even show up on a day-to-day basis. It's affected my confidence in how I'm actually showing up by not working on myself anymore, by not going to the gym, by not going for a walk, by not even eating healthy. Like it started to affect my mindset and putting me into a depressed state. Like it's messed with my emotional state. It's messed with my mental aspect of how I'm progressing, of how I'm showing up every single day. It's put me into confusion. It's put me into the place of feeling like self-doubt, of like, I can't actually figure this out. I can't actually know if I'm right or wrong because I'm always getting blamed. There's never an opportunity for me to even grow past this. This is probably produced not just in the toxic relationship, but in a lot of other relationships around you, strained. Having strained relationships with your loved ones or with your friends or with your family, and you start to feel isolated and feel disconnected because you're not able to actually know for sure what is actually true, and you start to pull away because you're constantly getting blamed of being the problem. You're constantly getting blamed of what's going on. This starts to creep into your work environment. Like it starts to creep into different things of decision making, like things that used to be really confident and really strong, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know, maybe that's not right. And it starts to put even your reputation at risk. Starts to show up differently in your job, starts to reduce your drive to actually be able to work and produce and be the person that you're called to be. How does that make you feel? Because we have to address the emotional and the psychological impact of being blamed for this conflict over and over and over again. Because you get to the place where you start to believe it. You get to the place where you start to internalize it. You get to the place where it starts to feel real. Well, what could be the possibility? Is when we actually look and understand, when you get to the place that you can see that you don't have to be the one to blame. Like if you just acknowledge there might be a possibility that you aren't to blame. Some of you, that might be hard right now. Like, that might be hard for you to be able to understand because you're like, wait a second. No, I am to blame. He said this. This is what happened. Okay, well, what if that wasn't true? What if that wasn't the actual reality? Because I want you to think about it. If you can actually take back your power and find resolution between these facts and between these feelings, it can move you into a place where you're actually able to understand the truth. What would be true if? Like, imagine a future where you actually gain control over your emotions, over your responses, and you're able to see clearly of this person no longer controls me. This person no longer makes me move in this direction, makes me respond in this way, triggers me. Like, what if that would be true? What would happen if you could actually be free from that thought process, free from the blame that this person has put on you? How would that show up in your life on a day-to-day basis? What would that actually look like? Because when you start to understand and start to see the narcissist manipulation, you start to step into a possibility of freedom, a possibility that you are no longer controlled by how that person is triggering you, by how they're making you respond. And I want to ask you as well, who could you actually be without the thought that it's your fault? How would you show up differently? What would that actually look like on a day-to-day basis? Could you actually envision a reality where you weren't at fault for every single conversation? Where the conflict that he started wasn't your fault because he started it? What would be different? Sometimes we ask the question of like, how would you show up differently? You'd have more of your time, your energy, your mental capacity to be able to show up for other people, to be able to show up for your kids as a beacon of light, to be able to show up and your coworkers showing, hey, you have a drive to actually produce and do the things that you're called to do. You'd actually show up differently. Like, these positive changes would affect in so many different ways to be able to help you grow and develop into the person you're called to be. What would that actually feel like? To actually release a lot of that piece that you're blaming yourself, that you might feel guilty and beating yourself up for things that you did not even do. Things that the toxic person put into your life saying this was your fault after they started the conflict. What would that do to your confidence? What would that do to helping you actually reclaim who you actually are called to be? So, how do we do that? Let's move into a couple principles to help you move into that reality. One is identifying this aspect of core beliefs that you need to be able to counteract the blame that you're getting from narcissists. First off is this aspect of belief in your self-worth and understanding that your worth is not defined by the other person. How he talks to you does not define your actual value. You define that every single day by how you decide to show up. You understanding this belief in setting healthy boundaries and not taking on the blame. Not taking on the false blame and the projection that the narcissist is doing onto you. This is important for you to be able to step into. Like, understanding I need to have healthy boundaries and I need to be able to say, wait a second, I didn't cause that. I didn't choose that. That was your choice. I didn't make you cheat. That was your choice. I didn't make you lie. That was your choice. That person was unwilling to stand in integrity and accountability, and as a result, they made a decision. You did not force that decision. This also comes from a belief in you understanding yourself and building that self-validation and self-trust on a day-to-day basis. Like, what are you going to do each day to be able to help you move forward? This moves another aspect, another principle of addressing the mindset, the shifts that are required to protect yourself from the blame. This comes from self-doubt to self-assurance, to self-validation. Of like, instead of looking of like, wait a second, I'm doubting myself because of what this person's saying, I'm looking at the facts. And the facts actually tell me, hey, I actually know what I'm talking about. This actually is true. What they're saying is not true. And you're no longer looking for validation from that person, but you're saying like, wait a second, I can see this as an actual fact, so I'm able to take validation from that. This helps you build this resilience. It helps you build this level of emotional intelligence that sets these boundaries, that establishes clear boundaries as you acknowledge and you recognize that things are actually happening. It also helps you understand the new beliefs that you need to construct a new reality. One is based in truth. One is understanding that you have the ability to assert boundaries and hold other people accountable. You're like, whoa, nope, I can't do that. You can. And you can show countless examples of people that are actually doing it. Being able to trust their instincts, their intuition, move forward to help discern manipulative behavior so it no longer pulls you back. By helping you establish self-care, prioritizing your well-being, and moving forward knowing what is actually true. But we have to be able to work through this in a step-by-step process. We have to actually put down a step-by-step of this is the roadmap of helping you move forward, and helping you deal with this when narcissist starts this fight and then blames you. First one is helping you just educate on narcissistic behaviors, like manipulation tactics, what it looks like, how a narcissist is projecting, how he's putting these things on you to be able to avoid the blame himself, to be able to avoid the accountability, how he's putting on things on you to make you confused. So you spend so much time trying to figure it out and trying to defend it that nothing actually changes. That you spend so much time defending and so much time protecting yourself, no, that wasn't me, that you ignore the actual reality of what the narcissist is doing. If you haven't already, this means you need to get in with other groups to be able to help seek support. You'll be able to join some of the communities of being able to understand you're not alone in this. There's other people going through this every single day where the narcissist turns around, causes a conflict, and blames it on you. With this, you learn to start to step into your power where you can establish clear and concise boundaries of saying, this is what's going on. This is what I'm willing to take. This is not what I'm willing to take. It's going to take time for you to build up that confidence, that self-care to be able to help you moving forward. If you're confused and you're like, hey, I don't even know how to do that because I've been beat down so long, you're right where a lot of people are when they've been with a narcissist. So the decision now is you to actually step into your calling, to step into your healing, to step in your change. And we do this every single day by inviting you to join escapetoxicity.com. 7-day challenge for $7 to help you get access to your healing, to get access to learning about narcissism, the fog that you're in, dealing with the guilt of being with a narcissist, of beating yourself up, of reactive abuse, of so many different pieces that we're trying to educate people on to help them break free. The choice is up to you. If you actually want to do that, go to escapetoxicity.com, sign up today. If you want to work with me in an accelerated environment, one-on-one, then go to www.rawmotivations.com, click on the one-on-ones. Would love to help you. You can apply right there to be able to work with us step by step of the way to get you through your healing journey and help you cultivate a growth mindset as you continue to grow and develop yourself into the person that you're meant to be.